everybody! Welcome to Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. I am one of your hosts, Wizzy Puff. And here with me is your co-host,
Ross Pitt.
Shark Hunter.
Yeah, that thing. I was trying to phase that out last year. And then I started doing it again. Yeah, there's quite a few episodes where I just don't say it because I don't support the actual murder of sharks.
That's fair. That name does lead a lot of people to believe that you hunt sharks.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, the character of Ross Pitt does, but in this series I am technically not playing a character. I am just playing me. Ish. Like, there are a few things that I do say that are different. But that's just because the audience here does not need to know everything about me.
They don't need to know that you're really left-handed.
Izzy, shut the fuck up. God.
Exposed. So, let us begin our fanfic for today.
What is it?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. It's called The Mare at the End of Forever by Obsolescence.
Whoa, what an awesome title.
What an
awesome
actually,
name. Legitimately, that's probably one of my favorite titles.
It is really good.
I definitely want more really cool titles like that.
What would you say is like one of the best ones we've read? Something like
that we've read?
The Everash Project is a pretty awesome name.
That's a really good one. I like all of the Everash Project stuff. Names, Great Big Sky, and then the other one that I'm thinking of, The Witching Hour. I like that one. That name.
Me too.
But yeah, I think at the current moment, Everash Project might be my favorite title, actually. So that was a good one to bring up. Ooh, I also like I Daybreaker, but I don't know why I like that. I just do.
Yeah.
Probably because I'm a, Celestia fan.
Yeah. And who isn't a big fan of Daybreaker?
Oh, hell yeah.
It's like iCarly, but for Daybreaker. Imagine if they spelled it like that with the uncapitalized
That would be great. We should make a parody where Daybreaker and Celestia start a web show.
Like,
and we could get Luna to be the...
I think it's like Luna is Freddy.
Yes, that was exactly what I was going to say. And Daybreaker fucking hates Luna.
Oh my god.
No, wait. It's iCarly, so...
Oh, that's a good point.
Alright, so anyways. Yeah, we should actually get started then.
Alright. Chapter 1. Disquiet. There was no longer anything worth speaking of, and there hadn't been for a long time. Not for millions of years, give or take a few if you thought that sort of thing mattered. No pony cared. There was no pony alive to care. The chapter on life had been closed an eon ago, and the book itself was going out of print. Under an ash-gray tree on the beach sat Celestia. Not Princess, just Celestia. She didn't have a land, and she didn't have any subjects, and a princess without either was no princess at all. So, just Celestia. She didn't care to hold on to empty titles. Memories, though, those had stayed with her, etched in her mind in the lines on her face. She was old now, even by her standards, and she was starting to look it, was starting to feel it. Her morning-hued mane had faded and grayed.
Oh, speaking of looking things.
Oh!
You all should go down into the description and look at this story yourselves. Although I don't know if the author would care much. if you didn't, but let's just say they're gone. But, I would still recommend it. They're not dead. As far as we know, they're not dead. But, they have not been around on film fiction for a hot minute.
Let's just say we took care of them.
Stop. No. So, yeah, but either way, you should, if, we're going to be making comments and stuff like that through the story. So if you would rather just read the story for yourself, really breathe it in, then you could go down and read it. If not, go ahead and give it a like, though. Thumbs up. All it takes is an account. And you probably have that, you saucy bastards.
And I mean, just from the sample we've had so far, it seems like this is going to be a doozy of a story.
Ooh, that's a doozy.
Talented writer so far.
Mm-hmm. And, Wizzy, if you're going to be introing the podcast, I expect you to remember that.
All right. I'll try and remember.
Good. Now here's a snack.
Scooby snack.
A Wizzy treat.
A Wizzy wafer. That's what you can call them.
All right, yep. Here's a Wizzy wafer. You get one each time. I think you do good at hosting the podcast.
Yay! This is like a box of Nilla wafers that you taped over and wrote the word Wizzy. Her morning-hued mane had faded and grayed, and there was an ache in her joints that she just couldn't shake. It was only natural, though. After a billion odd years of perfect health, she couldn't begrudge age now that it was finally catching up with her. Occasionally, Celestia looked out on the horizon, to the burning red sun that had filled up the sky, and contemplated it for a second, or for an hour. If nothing else, it served as a blazing reminder that nothing ever lasts forever. Not even a star.
Damn. Oh my god. That's deep, bro. Celestia could, controller of the sun.
Uh-huh.
Ugh. Goodness, my heart.
Man.
Perhaps this will be a great bookend to the Celestia and Death trilogy that we have going on.
This was November 2012. This is before Twilight was revealed as an alicorn, right?
Correctamundo. And when was she revealed as an alicorn?
I want to say early 2013?
Yep.
Okay.
February 2013, in fact.
I knew it was around the first time that you started talking about My Little Pony with me. And that had to have been around then.
Actually, around this time, they actually would have... I think there would have been leaks already about Twilight becoming an alicorn.
Dang!
People were furious. They were like, ruining the show. The show's dead. It jumped the shark. And for a lot of people, I guess it did jump the shark at that point. I don't know if it was for that reason specifically that they actually hated it, but I don't know.
What season was that?
3.
Out of 6 or 7?
9.
9? Oh my god. Yeah, I don't think...
not even a third of the way through. There were only 13 episodes in season 3, so that's it's half the length of a regular season.
Yeah, I feel like they still had quite a bit of story to go on after, quote-unquote, jumping the shark then.
Yeah. And maybe they were right in that it happened too soon. No, maybe. Imagine if that had happened in, season 5. That would have been insane. What a status quo change up in season 5.
They may have not even known if they would get a season 5.
That's true, actually. There were a lot of... it was very iffy at that time because Lauren Faust had been arrested and... No, I'm kidding. But she did leave the show.
Ooh, she got Lauren ousted.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn, yeah. The point is, Twilight was not a princess at this point.
Okay. Because it's only, tagged Celestia and Luna, so... did they also reveal Cadence later?
Cadence would have been here.
Okay.
Around. But we don't really know if she's going to live forever. I mean, my
Yeah.
theory is that she is dead in the season finale. Or the series finale.
She seems like more of a danger princess than like Luna and Celestia, you know? Throwing herself at, what's his name and all?
Sombra, but I think most people would disagree with you on that. That's the only thing she does like that.
Aw. I
Granted,
was hoping that
the other
she's
two
just an
don't have great
extreme lady.
feats themselves, but she's not like a daredevil princess. Let's just say she's the Aurora of My Little Pony princesses.
Like the sun, the moon, and the aurora.
No, like Dry Rose, Sleeping Beauty Aurora.
Ouch. I feel like that's an insult, but
It's a bad one too. I'm sorry, kid. That was mean.
Talking about the totem pole of alicorns.
Stick-a-dad.
And then Cadence.
Alright, now let's continue.
Not even a star. Not even a former princess. She needed that. Every now and then, that reassurance of her own eventual mortality. And then she could go back to watching the waves, drowning her thoughts in them as they crashed on the shore. She would die quietly, she hoped, simply existing on her little barren beach until eternity itself came to an end. It wouldn't be too long now, really. She could not die until the sun. But it would live only a few billion years more. She just had to wait out the clock. Tick-tock. But all fires flicker before they fade out, and Celestia was no exception. She couldn't forget. That was the trouble. The past, always growing, was too big and too fearsome for her to kill off entirely. The best she could do was keep it at bay and away from her thoughts. And often enough, even that was a struggle. Someday, perhaps, it would rise up and swallow her whole. But she wasn't too worried about that. She didn't have to fight it forever, just until time ran out on the clock. Tick-tock. So she took it in stride when the past reared its head and began to haunt her in earnest one day. She barely even bothered to turn her head when that starry blue mane fluttered by the corner of her eye. It wasn't Luna. She knew. Luna was dead. Dang! No! How did Luna die?
I assume the moon blew up, if we're going by the story's logic.
The sun already ate the moon.
If we're taking this as, like, I don't know, fact or whatever.
Yeah. It would make sense.
Yeah.
They're immortal until you kill their planet. Or star or whatever.
I wonder if in this story, that's like their souls. That's what it sounded like a bit. Like a bit, you know?
True.
That's a dope-ass concept, though.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm liking the story a lot.
Yeah, so far it seems like it's really, really strong opening.
Yeah. Can it live up to that opening? We'll find out. After these messages. Hello, Luna.
She said calmly.
It's been a while.
Hello, sister. Classic Luna voice.
I love it. Love it.
Hello, sister. Came Luna's voice, just as Celestia remembered it.
Classic Luna voice.
Indeed it has. Whatever it was that sat beside her now sounded like Luna. It looked like Luna. It could have been Luna, with her little black crown and crescent moon cutie mark, youthful and bright as ever. But it wasn't her baby sister, and Celestia kept that in mind.
To what do I owe this pleasure, Luna?
She asked.
We don't speak all that much anymore.
The Luna thing pursed its lips, glaring at her indignantly. Must I have a reason to speak with you, sister? Perhaps I simply wanted the conversation. Celestia laughed, a weary, exhausted laugh, but a laugh nonetheless.
You're right, Luna. That was rude of me. I'm sorry.
As you should be. It grumbled. The Luna thing pouted for a moment, then smiled back at her. But it is good to see you again, sister.
Likewise.
The years went on as they sat there in motionless silence, the only sound that of the sea. It was better that way, really. Celestia had nothing she wanted to say. Not to Luna, and not to her shadow either. I missed you so much while I was gone, sister, said the shadow at last, breaking the silence. It was not easy to be gone from you for so long, cold, afraid, alone. It smiled warmly at her. I am glad to be with you again.
I can only imagine,
said Celestia, bored. She didn't have the energy to feign much interest in her memories.
You'll have to tell me about it sometime.
It paused at that. The smile dimmed and disappeared. Did you not? It asked, slowly. Miss me also, sister? Celestia shrugged.
I did once. I'd like to think I've grown a little wiser since then.
Wiser? It looked up at her with Luna's big cyan eyes. I never really think about the pony's eyes until they're mentioned in the fics, but she does have cyan eyes.
Does she really?
Does she not?
I don't know. Let's see. I can't remember.
I can picture her with them after they say it.
I guess they are cyan. I don't know why. I always pictured them as, like, dark blue.
I think it's that black in them that mainly takes them up, that sort of takes away.
True.
It looked up at her with Luna's big cyan eyes, confused, hurt. You think it wiser now to forget me?
Well, with age.
Celestia chuckled. She flexed her wings experimentally and winced as they crackled and popped.
With age.
She sighed and folded her wings back in, turning her gaze to the sky, to the sun.
It's been a long time indeed, Luna. I've moved on. You know you can't ask me to mourn you forever.
But surely...
I don't miss you, Luna. There's nothing more to it.
It gasped, its mouth falling open in shock. You do not truly mean that?
And what if I did?
Celestia asked, unabashed.
What then?
The Luna thing choked down a sob. If you did... It looked up and smiled at her again, not with affection this time, but with pity. Oh, sister, it said sadly, closing Luna's teary eyes. What has happened to make you this way?
Things change,
said Celestia simply.
Everything changes. If you live long enough to see it.
Do you truly intend to forget everything, then? It asked her, wiping away the tears. Equestria? Your sister? Your subjects?
They're dead too, aren't they?
That favorite student of yours. She thought briefly back to that far-off time, of a lavender-colored nose pressed eagerly to a newly opened book, of all the promise and potential in that filly bouncing before her with joy. She caught herself and forced her thoughts back to the present. Celestia didn't want to continue this battle. She'd fought it already, 100,000 times. She'd earned her rest from it.
I'm tired now, Luna.
She said, yawning.
Yawn. Later.
She worried, briefly, that it wouldn't listen, that it would stay and torment her to the bitter end. But the Luna thing obediently stood up and brushed the sand off its coat. "You said those words to me so many times," it said, "when I was alive."
Did I?
Maybe she had. So what if she had? There'd always been a later, hadn't there? Almost always. It turned away and looked back one last time before it left, staring down at her with a disappointment Luna had never once shown in life. "I just wondered," it said, "if you wish you had said them less often." And with that, it flew off, shrinking into the hazy horizon until she could no longer see it, leaving only the great clouds of dust it had stirred up with the force of its wings. Doodly doodly doodly. A century or so later, long after the memory itself was a memory, and the imaginary imprints it had left in the sand faded, Celestia answered.
It wouldn't have mattered if I did,
she said quietly, more for her own sake than anything. It was much too late now to get the last word, but she could rest a little better now, knowing that she could have had it, if she'd wanted it. And all the while, the clock went tick-tock. The sun blotted out still more of the sky as time passed her by, imperceptibly expanding its all-encompassing reach. Second by second, by billions of seconds, Celestia smiled as the atmosphere around her got just that tiny bit hotter, enjoying the warmth of a heat she could barely feel anyway. One of the few pleasures left to her in her old age. She had to take them where she could get them. A scarlet ocean wave broke on the shore and fell back to the water. Then another, and another, as the minutes and months and years ticked on, and every year the water sank another fraction of an inch. It had been that way for ages now, even before the last corpse of the last fish had rotted to nothing before her eyes. How much longer would it be, Celestia wondered, until the seas boiled away altogether, until the vastness of the ocean proved temporary? 10 million years? 20? It didn't matter, she supposed. It would happen soon enough, and her own end wouldn't be too far behind. It would only take patience, and she had patience in spades. The sun could only burn so bright and so hot before it burned out entirely. And then, the tree behind her started crackling before she could finish that thought. The first signs that it would catch fire. She put her musings aside for the time being and drew on what was left of her magic. The tree glowed a dull white as the protection spell on it was renewed, and the crackling ceased soon after.
Man, God's trying to recruit you to get the Jews out of Egypt.
That was happening here?
You keep on denying it.
Yep. She thinks she's the god. That's the issue.
Yeah. Tisk tisk, I say.
Gotta get the, griffins out of, where do they live?
Griffinstone.
Yeah, gotta get them to the promised land of Griffinstone.
Yeah.
She looked to make sure she'd saved it in time, and sighed in relief when she realized she had. The tree was still there, its branches still gnarled and leafless, exactly the way it had been when she'd first set herself down on the beach. It was just a pet project, to keep it alive. The tree gave her some scant hints of shade, and she liked the idea that something else, anything else would survive for as long as she did. So she kept it standing. I don't think that tree's alive. I don't think it survived.
It's there.
Yeah. But so is that rock next to her foot there.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think she prefers the tree.
Yeah. Not everyone can handle McMineral.
Also, she doesn't have feet. Idiot.
Whoa! Oh, that's right. I forgot. She's wearing her shoes, or hooves, as you call them.
Ugh.
One of her few remaining pleasures. She deserved them, didn't she? Satisfied that the tree would not burn under her watch, Celestia closed her eyes and let her tired mind wander.
Poor tree is just like, kill me! Let me die!
It's like when you cut down a pine tree for Christmas, and then you just fill the thing with water so it doesn't turn brown.
Totally.
Keeping it just barely alive. There had been a time, ages back, when casting simple protection spells would have been effortless, when she'd been all but omnipotent, when nothing had seemed out of her reach. But she'd been so much younger then. Now that she had some perspective, Celestia could see that some things were indeed out of her reach. No wonder, then, that she'd never climbed high enough to catch them. She looked down the coast and saw smooth, unvarying sand. Her mind's eye rebuilt the uncountable granules into the cities they had been once, long ago. Cities where ponies had lived the entirety of their fleeting lives. She couldn't have preserved them, not with 1,000 times as much power as she'd ever held. In the end, there wasn't a protection spell powerful enough to save brick, stone, and skeletons from wearing away into sand. All she could do was accept that. Do you envy them?
Oh my God.
That's right, I'm back.
Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Oh my goodness. Saint Mary, what the hell? How long have you been standing there? So many biblical references that I just shouted out. Did you catch them all, Wizzy?
Yeah.
All right, let's play them all right now.
Boop, 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 boop.
Awesome. Good job, Wizzy.
Do you envy them, sister? Whispered Luna's voice. Your subjects. Celestia didn't bother to look or respond. Maybe it would go away if she didn't acknowledge it. Maybe it would finally leave her alone. Maybe it would... Do you envy them? That they died before they were made to bear witness to what their world would become? It continued. Is that the root of your suffering? That they were mortal and you are not? Or maybe it wouldn't.
We're all mortal, Luna,
said Celestia, calmly.
It was their time when they died, and my time will come soon enough. It's as simple as that. There's nothing more to it. Now please go away.
She could almost feel its stare on her. Almost imagine the steel in Luna's piercing eyes. Was it merely my time, then? It asked. When I was so unjustly slain? Is that what it was?
We're all mortal, Luna. What more do you want me to say?
She felt the feathery brush of a wing against her back. Luna's wing, or something that felt so much like it. Celestia resisted the urge to turn and see Luna's face. No, not even her sister's face, merely her recollection of it. Celestia chided herself for thinking otherwise for even a moment. She couldn't give in to illusions and delusions now. Not when she'd come so far free of them.
I only wish to understand you, sister,
said Luna softly.
To help you break free of this madness that has taken a hold of your mind. Why must you fight me?
Madness.
Celestia's lips curled upward at the irony of that.
I wouldn't be speaking to you if I weren't already past that point, would I?
I would not be speaking to you, sister, if you did not need it.
A hoof brushed soothingly through Celestia's mane. She might have pushed it away if she'd had the strength to do so, but she couldn't quite raise the effort. What would be the point? It wasn't a real hoof, and it did her no harm. There were better ways she could spend her dwindling energy. She couldn't think of any of them off the top of her head, but they certainly existed, somewhere.
Fair enough,
she admitted.
Do as you like.
Doodly-doodly-doo. Again, for a time, silence reigned on the beach, save for the rhythmic splash of the waves. And then, a new sound. The soft, soothing hums of the long-dead Princess Luna.
Wait a minute, rhythmic splash of waves?
Yeah. Oh, how is that thing moving without the moon?
Yeah. I'm glad that you caught on to that.
Weren't they saying it was like already boiling now, though?
Can't remember. They said a lot of things. We've all said things. Some of us have said more things that we'll regret later on.
Well, you let me know what that is when it comes up.
I will.
Melodies and lullabies. Melodies and lullabies her big sister had sung to her in the mornings, when the world was young and the moon was new. Celestia remembered. She wished that she couldn't, but forgetting the past was always difficult. There was so much of it, after all, to forget. That was what she was feeling, seeing, hearing now, wasn't it? A memory she simply remembered too well. A thought she couldn't stop thinking.
Why are you here, Luna?
She asked. When the humming finally drifted to a stop, her eyes did not turn away from the sea.
What can I give you to leave me alone?
Why should you want to be rid of me, sister?
It asked.
And what could you give me, save for your company?
Against her better judgment, Celestia turned to face the memory of her little sister directly, and her old eyes met squarely with Luna's, which would never age another day.
I killed him, you know,
she said, her voice barely a croak.
Discord.
What?
Was Discord even back at this time?
I don't know. This was November 2012, so...
Hold up.
I wasn't even really thinking about him when I was thinking of the Immortals, but yeah, I guess he should have been here too if she didn't kill him.
Yeah. Right. Keep calm and flutter on. That's the one.
Oh, that makes sense.
Which was
Fluttershy episode.
January 19th, 2023. So, this was before Discord came back.
Okay.
Man, that feels so much longer than earlier. Wow. Longer ago than earlier.
So, did we, think he was dead at this point or something?
He was in stone. So...
Okay.
Celestia would have just, I don't know, demolished the stone, I guess.
Let's take a sledgehammer. Well, I'm assuming this is implying he killed Luna, but I guess we're going to find out soon.
Maybe.
Because I thought that's why she would have killed Discord.
Discord isn't particularly a kill kind of guy. That's Well, I guess the only pony who would have been a kill kind of villain at this point would have been like Luna. Ironic.
No.
Oh no, wait, Samra existed. He probably would.
Yeah, but this guy's like all powerful, killed her sister. I don't know.
Which is why it's very important and dope as fuck that she killed him.
Yeah. Probably like tricked him with Fluttershy. God.
No.
Let's find out. She said, her voice barely a croak.
Discord.
She blinked and turned back to the sand on the shore and the blood-red sunlight that illuminated it.
Wasn't that enough for you, Luna?
Slowly, Luna had a hoof on Celestia's shoulder.
I did not ask to be avenged. Not in so terrible a manner.
No.
Whispered Celestia.
No, you didn't.
She felt old and tired, more so than she ever had before. It had been a mistake, she realized, to look into Luna's eyes. They reminded her too much of an innocence she had lost long ago. Hopes that hadn't yet been shattered. Dreams that might have come true. The real Luna had been fortunate to die early, hadn't she?
No, you didn't ask for it,
said Celestia, softly.
But if he'd killed me instead, you would have done the same. He deserved nothing better.
Luna's hoof fell off of her shoulder.
There is always a better way,
she said.
Harmony should be held to a higher standard than chaos.
Also, it's kind of impossible for Discord to die.
What would happen?
Although they might not know this nowadays, but Discord always like comes back as long as there is chaos. So,
well, there's none of that anymore, right?
I would say that tree not dying is pretty chaotic.
No, that is very true.
So maybe there's a tiny little Discord running around.
Oh man, it's like get rid of Celestia by killing the sun, get rid of Discord by killing chaos.
Yep. Of course, that's only really in the comics that was explained, and like years later. So, you know.
I find it canon.
Me too. There are a few things in the comics that I really do find canon, you know? Sombra's backstory. Yeah. I just like that one because it's so depressing.
It's so good. It's such it seems really fulfilling to give him a backstory like that.
Yeah. But the show handled him way better than the comics did, in my opinion.
Aww.
He becomes a good guy in the comics.
Oh. Nah, he was destined to be a bad guy.
I guess it was like, they gave him such a sad backstory. Why do they have to kill him off? So they, revived him or whatever. I actually haven't read a whole lot of the comics, but I know about them. That's really a gray area for me.
Had to be like a living pony sacrifice to bring him back to life. Because they're just like, he's probably gonna change if we bring him back. And
it was just his ex got pissy or something like that.
Oh. He has an ex? Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, I remember her from the backstory.
Yeah. Like Radiant Hope or something like that. Yeah. She brought him back, and I guess she wanted him as a bad guy. I can't really remember. But then she turned good, and then he turned good, and then they both went off together to do good things.
She brought him back to be a trophy husband.
Yeah. Fiendship is Magic, Issue 1, great. Siege of the Crystal Empire, could have been better. Would have preferred better. Those I have read. Just so we're all clear.
You got the physical copies?
Only of Fiendship is Magic.
Nice.
I was originally going to do a video on them, but That didn't work out.
Hmm.
Oh, is that so?
We should be above trading death for more death,
said Luna, her voice calm and thoughtful. No, it wasn't. I should have been more calm and thoughtful for that.
Ours is a force for preservation, not destruction. Do you not regret that your vengeance, your victory, called you to stoop to his level?
Celestia couldn't help but laugh at that.
Ours a force for preservation.
She looked to the shore, where all that was left was the sand, and her single solitary tree, and not a trace of the civilization that had crumbled to dust around her. A force for preservation indeed. So I know what she's doing. This is a thing in Minecraft called Skyblock.
Kill me.
Yeah, so you just get the one block and you stand on there and you have to build off of there. So she has to start building a new world.
Fucking you. Can you look at all this then?
She said.
And tell me that I truly won.
No answer.
Luna?
Still nothing. She turned back again to where Luna had been sitting and saw sand. Not even a phantom or echo of her little sister. Only more sand.
No,
said Celestia, somewhat disappointed herself.
I didn't think so. Man, she finally wants to have a decent conversation with Luna after all these years, or the whatever this thing is, and she bails on her. Fucking, that's deep, and also, what a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, if she's justifying this to herself, then, how is she going to do it? How is she going to create a Luna that can justify all of the, all the destruction around her? If she herself can't be brought to do it.
Well, maybe she can
herself.
create Nightmare Moon.
Oh.
I mean, she did in the past. Am I right? Up top. Yeah.
That was the high five.
Yeah, I thought so.
And that was that. Doodly doodly doo. What was left of eternity passed her by without issue, and the clock ran on until the mainspring of the universe went slack. The sky glowed a fiery crimson with the final gasps of a dying sun, and the beach fell from quiet to total silence as the waves disappeared and the seas turned to vapor. It had been a long and tiring journey, but the end was in sight, so close now that she could almost taste it. Wonder what that tastes like.
I can almost taste it.
Soon, so very, very soon, the sun would reach the end of its life and burn out, like the galaxy's greatest candle, and when that finally happened, she could set her burdens down and sleep. It was over. Thank the sun, it was finally over. Withered and weak, she sat with the tree, guarded only by the dwindling magic of a million-year-old spell. Somehow, it seemed fitting. She was ancient by then, beyond ancient, but the tree was ancient too. She had seen to that much. It had grown older and grayer with her as the years had gone by, and was practically fossilized now, despite her preservation magic. Soon, it would die with her too. Neither of them would be forced to face the end alone.
There isn't much time left, sister,
said Luna, suddenly sitting beside her as well.
Are you sure there's nothing left that you wish to say? No final words?
Of course, Celestia sighed. She couldn't be left to die in peace.
Leave me alone, Luna.
Beautiful final words.
Mwah. Perfect. Those are the words that I want to go out on, personally.
Because it means that you got to see Luna.
Maybe like a Celestia's best princess. That would be a good one to go out on.
Yo. She croaked.
I've said all there is to say for you. I've done all I could do.
A hacking cough interrupted her, and her eyes drooped downward as her energy began to flag. Even the mere effort of speech was starting to take its toll on her. It almost hurt to talk.
If there's anything more, I don't care to hear about it.
Luna moved in close and draped her wing over her. It seemed bigger now to Celestia, or perhaps, in her age, she had simply shrunk.
I never asked that you do more,
said Luna softly.
You have done so much, sister. Far more than anyone could have ever asked of you.
Then, why do you keep coming back?
To remind you,
said Luna,
so that you would not forget.
I don't want to remember.
Celestia rasped.
I shouldn't have to remember.
Luna said nothing to that, but drew her wing in, nestling a bit closer to her big sister. She felt warm, Celestia realized, warmer than anything she'd been able to feel in a long time.
It was often said that the moon needs the sun,
said Luna, after a time.
For the moon could not shine if it did not reflect the sun's light.
When there were still those who could say that,
said Celestia, her eyes turning back to the ancient tree behind her.
When there was still a moon.
But I think it true also,
Luna continued,
that the sun needs the moon to keep its light shining when the night is at its blackest and all is dark.
It hasn't been dark for a long time.
Luna hugged her tightly, tears starting to flow from her eyes.
You think it meant nothing because it came to nothing, she said. But it did mean something. We all meant something. To you, if ever, even once, a subject, a student, or a sister mattered to you, if you still cherish what time you did have with them, that is reason enough for them to have lived in the first place.
Celestia coughed again and shuddered. The sand glowed with heat from the flickering sun. She wouldn't last much longer. She knew. Not like this. She didn't have to deal with Luna's shadow forever. The chill of death, slowly welling up inside her, would save her from that fate.
I keep telling you, it doesn't mean anything to me now,
she said.
Maybe it did. Not anymore. I've grown past that.
Luna smiled at her, her eyes bright through the tears. It wasn't the disappointed, piteous smile from so many millions of years ago, but that adoring, unconditional grin she'd always worn when she'd looked up to Celestia in life. Celestia could barely remember the last time she had seen that smile, and she wondered how, after everything she had said, Luna could still wear it while looking down on her in death.
As you wish, sister,
she said.
But you are wrong. If it truly meant nothing to you, the tree above us now would not still be standing.
With that last parting shot, Luna vanished, and the feathery warmth of her wing faded into the air around Celestia, leaving her alone to spend what little time she had left. And with only a few hours left on the clock, Celestia turned her head upward one final time. Through the withered and leafless branches of her tree, she looked to the looming red sun that she was destined to die with. She leaned just a bit to the side, to rest her head against the tree that was her baby sister's gravestone. Oh my God.
Oh.
And mustered just enough of her remaining strength to smile.
Fair enough, Luna.
She closed her eyes.
I'll see you soon.
Oh my God. Author's notes.
What a perfect
The
author's
end.
note to end on.
Oh my God. That was The Mare at the End of Forever by Obsolescence.
Forgot it was titled that. What a good title. God. Man, that was good.
Uh-huh.
Good addition to our Celestia mortality discussion stories. The others in the series being, as far as I can recall, Through Death and Life and... Oh no, it's my favorite. A Moment's Worth.
Yeah.
I don't think there are any others, but there should be others because this is the best sort of thing that we do.
To Try for the Sun was sort of like that, because it went all the way back in time. But it didn't really, discuss her end state immortality like these ones.
Yeah, no, it's not... To Try for the Sun, great one, by the way, absolutely fantastic. But it didn't, discuss the mortality of her.
Yeah.
Or others. Like, the trilogy here does.
Yeah.
That's all to say that, I love it. I love that whole theme. So we should read more. But this story specifically, fuck, man. What a dope story.
Man. It's like I could tell the creator's sort of thought process of, well, if she's immortal, what would the end state look like? And then sort of going from there. But man, I think they fleshed it out so well in how her mind state would have been damaged by the end there.
Yeah. Man, I do not envy Celestia. Out of... this is one of the, worst fates of any character we've read.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only one worse is I Fluttershy or Autumn Without End.
Oh, it's very true. That was just supposed to be the worst possible end, though.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult for someone to beat that, frankly. In fact, I don't think that's possible because this one comes up in second. And it's just because she's waiting around a long time. Every year, Fluttershy has to wait around a long time, and it's even longer than how long Celestia had to wait, pretty much, as far as I can remember that story. That was her 6th or something episode. Oof.
And that freaking curveball at the end with the gravestone.
Oh man,
that why is this tree shouldn't be that important to her, right?
Yeah, I was just oh, she made a little friend, cute little her tree.
I just thought it was her pet project, like it said.
Yeah, didn't have to get me like that. Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Yeah, I've heard a lot about how Celestia and Luna and yada yada are immortal now, and how eventually everything they know are gonna be destroyed and stuff like that, and they'll just end up floating in space forever. And we haven't really ever had I've never like seen an actual representation of that in a fan fiction. And this really did a good job at that. And I am thankful it's around. It's probably one of my favorites by far.
I think it sort of gave her one of the only deaths you could really give Celestia, which I think was really creative, of just like the sun and her die at the same time.
I think that was probably like the best decision for this. And it's... Ooh. I was also just like picturing that Bluey. You've seen the episode Sleepy Time. I was just picturing like her as Bingo looking up at the sun.
God.
But that one was nice and warm, and this one,
cold and alone.
Yep.
Somehow the heat death of the universe manages to be cold.
Yeah. Damn. That's deep.
Right? Like, did I write this story or something?
Is Wizzy the former fanfiction writer Obsolescence? No. I don't think he is.
You do remember what my little ending phrase used to be?
What was it?
It was bye.
Oh.
You know what their description or whatever blurb is? It's just bye, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly this was me. That was a hint to me being the beautiful writer of... No, I'm not Obsolescence, guys. I could never be. This was a beautifully written story, and they clearly have a lot of talent.
Yep. I hope that they're still writing somewhere. Up there. In the great author sky.
Again, they're not dead.
They're not dead. But, just into that forever and beautiful sky.
The great big sky.
Well, now I'm gonna go cry. Everybody, hug your mom.
Yeah.
If you don't have a mom, other parental figures, and if they're... give me a hug. But I want a hug now.
Free hugs. Free hugs, everyone. Get real close to the screen. We're going to do this big family hug as we exit.
All right.
Thank you guys for joining the podcast.
Thank you all so much. I can't wait to see you in the next episode. No. We're just going to say see ya. I can't wait to see you in the next episode.
I can't breathe.
Sorry, Wizzy, it has to be this way.
See ya.
That was great, by the way. That was a great intro that you did. I'm really proud of you. You're going to get so much better.
Sounds like such a backhanded compliment.
No.
You have so much room for improvement. Look at how much potential you have.
You could be where I'm at someday, Wizzy.